Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. One concept I've always found hard to grasp is how do people enjoy running? 5 years ago, I used to think, how are people enjoying running? How do people go out every single day and log in miles, log in kilometers, and do it for fun and find that satisfaction? Over the past 5 years, I've started to feel that. Every single day that I don't run now, or every time I don't feel like running, it's always something within me telling me I need to go out, log in my kilometers, finish my training, feel that satisfaction of running, feel that satisfaction of getting something done. Some people might call it discipline, some people might call it a routine. But for me, it's that satisfaction of after finishing your run, nothing beats that. And in today's video, I want to talk about how one person can develop that feeling. This video is going to be split into 3 different parts, where I'm going to be telling you a bit of backstory of how I started to get into running and how I got into it, what led me into basically enjoying it rather than dreading it. Let's be honest, every time it comes to running, especially if you play cricket, I play cricket, I've been playing cricket all my life. Growing up, the concept of running was always used as a punishment. If you don't get this done, you're going to go for 10 laps. You're going to do 10 laps around the oval. If you don't do this, you're going to do an extra kilometer. You've got to do extra running. It was always deemed as a punishment. And this brings me into my first point, using running not as a punishment, but as a privilege. Understanding that if you can go out for a run, you're privileged. Not everyone can go out and go for a run. It could be any sort of circumstances, we never know, but being grateful and being privileged to go out for a run every single day, take it, use it. That's how I've changed my mindset for running. Little backstory about me, I grew up playing cricket all my life, coming up the ranks with representative teams and making teams in a way. We always found that if someone did something wrong, like I said before, if someone did something wrong, as a punishment was running. You're going to go out for a run, you're going to do your 2K time trials. I used to hate it. Every time I heard the word 2K time trial, it was proper nightmares for me. Growing up, for me and my routines, it was always basically finish school, go straight to the nets, have a hit, and then after the nets, always do some sort of running exercise, whether it be playing soccer when I was super young, whether it be playing footy, I used to chase my brother, he used to chase me. It was always those activities that are related to running, and that ends my first point in a way, is finding that purpose and finding that privilege of running and using it as a privilege rather than using it as a punishment. Looking at point number 2, how did I overcome the fear of running? It was actually a setback for me that changed my mindset. So all throughout growing up, I was okay at running. I had a lot of spare time in my hands basically. So I didn't have a lot of electronics growing up. No phones, like computers were very rare. It was always just either study or train for cricket or do something that doesn't involve using a screen. So I found running quite therapeutic for me. Good at 100 meters, good at 200 meters, good at sort of up until 400 meters, like when we used to do athletics carnivals. But cross country sort of thing, I always used to struggle. So in cricket, there's a concept called the 2K time trial, and the first time that I did it, I ran a terrible time. And basically what that did to me was I was like, okay, so if I want to succeed in cricket, I want to be a healthy human being, I need to start running. Initially it was hard to start. I used to dread going for runs, but I feel like it came down to my routine. It came down to getting the highs and lows of running basically. So when someone goes out for a run, there's always going to be highs and lows. There's highs and lows for everything that you do. If you're studying, if you're playing cricket, you're playing soccer, whatever sport you play, even if you play chess, even if you just go for work, every single time you're going to have some days that are absolutely perfect and some days that aren't as good. So that was the same for me in running. When I first started, this was about 2020. I felt like, let's take running serious if I want to pursue the idea of being a professional cricketer. I haven't got there yet, still in the works, but the idea was there. I was like, if I need to be a pro at something, I have to start running. So all throughout COVID lockdown, I started running and like I said, I had some days that were really good and I felt amazing, and some days I felt like shit. But what I learned from such experiences was I started to crave the feeling of running when I was feeling good. That's what gets me up every single day in the morning to go for my run, is that feeling. And that happens when I'm having a really good day running. The after feeling, during the run, before run. Everything that just clicks in one single order. That's what I crave, and that's what gets me out of bed every single morning. Yes, some days I do not want to run. I feel like it's the worst thing that can happen to me. But you still have to get up and go. Some people, like I said earlier, some people call this discipline, while some people call it routine. What do I call it? I call it craving that feeling of a good run. That's my purpose of getting up and going for my run. That's what changed me from hating running to loving running. Yes, some days you feel like shit and you don't feel like running and you have a bad day of running. I had an ideal example. I'll clip it up here right now. Listen to it and see what I mean when I'm talking about feeling good and not feeling good about running right here. Ladies and gentlemen, just completed my run. Did a tempo run today, and if I'm being honest, I feel like I got humbled big time up until now. So it's about week 5 for me trying to build consistent mileage. So today was my first run for week 5. I was meant to be running yesterday, but I traveled and I was super tired, so couldn't get it done. And then this morning, again, I planned it for about 6:30 a.m. run, but slept late last night. I was talking to a girl, so I didn't want to ruin my chances there. But yeah, so it's about midday now. Started around 12 p.m. So it was like lunchtime tempo. So if we talk about like the run in a way, it was scheduled to be 6 kilometers tempo run, so out 3, back 3. It was about 2.4 k's. I could like feel this pain in my left shoe and left foot. So I was like, I don't think I'd be able to keep up this pace. I was hurting. I was feeling it. Like you saw in that clip, I was talking about a tempo run. I was talking about how I felt really good with my week ending of running. I finished an 8K. I was in Sydney. I felt absolutely amazing. Come to Brisbane, first day, new training week, and I felt like absolute shit. Why? Because it's up and down. Not everything is always going to fall into place. And that's something that's a concept that a lot of people, young kids and young people seem to miss. They can't grasp it. Another thing I want to talk about, and it leads into the third section of this video, is how can someone change their perspective into running? How can someone that hates running, how can they start loving it? And my number one biggest tip would be start rewarding your runs. Start using running as a reward rather than as a punishment. That is me talking about running and how it's changed me and how it's shaped me to be a better person. If you guys got something out of this video and you understood what running has done to me, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Other than that, I will see you in the next video. Peace.